gang? How you doing? How you doing? This is Bronco. Listen, Uncle Tony just made a video. He said, so you don't think it could get any worse. All right, he was at the auto parts store, and then the guy shows him the rotor from a Chevy Silverado. And the crown on the rotor had broken off. And then Uncle Tony's asking the guy at the parts counter, he says, is this typical? Is this, it's typical. It's far from the norm. But then when he asked the guy, he says, what do you think? Why do you think that this happened? The guy says, over torquing. It just goes to prove that guys that work at the auto parts counter, they don't know anything. They know absolutely nothing. Anyone who knows automobiles knows you should be able to over torque the lugs on a rotor and not have the crown on the rotor crack. If the crown on the rotor cracked, it technically means it was a bad casting. If it was a bad casting, it was defective when they put it in the box. Now my point is, because Tony's been on a continuation of making these series about defective parts. I want to show you guys something. This here is a brand new camshaft position sensor. All right, this is the original camshaft position sensor. Show you close up. See how grimy it is, right? This is for a Dodge Caravan. See the plug is dirty. See the tip of sensor. This is used. This is an OEM part. This was the original part that the car came with, I believe. I bought it used. This is for a 2000 Dodge Grand Caravan. I did a lot of work on this truck, and everything I did on this car, I didn't pretty much have to do it twice, but there were some things I had to do twice. I mean, this right here, I put a new timing chain on it, I put a new oil pump in it, I put a new water pump, and I did the gasket on the oil pan. So while I'm in there, I'm going to replace the camshaft position sensor. Once again, this is the original, right? So I put this one in. I put this camshaft position sensor in there. I start the car up. The car runs. The car runs for 4 minutes. 1, 2, 3, 4. The car runs for 4 minutes, and then the motor dies. Now I'm thinking I must have done something wrong. I'm not getting any codes. Maybe the ignition control pack went bad. So I go get another ignition pack. But before I put the ignition pack in the car, I say, let me try with the old, once again, the old camshaft position sensor. So I put the original camshaft position sensor in the car, car starts up, and I had done that job. This is 2021. So I had done that in 2015. So for 6 years, I was able to get more use out of this camshaft position sensor, right? But this is what I'm saying. I only saved this one because it was in the car when I went there, and it was under the, there's a glove box that they put under the seat. And I looked in that little pocket there, and there it was. I said, I can't believe I saved it. And then when I went back to the place, being that this is an electrical part, they won't replace it, but they will give you another one. But being that, I don't know if this new one is any better than the old one. I kept the old one in there until last month when I took it out. Now I have this new one to install, and we're gonna hope that it works. But with this car, let me tell you something, man. There's been a lot of stuff I had to do twice. I bought a radiator for the car, put the radiator in the car. I'm running around for less than a month, and the radiator starts to leak at the seams. I had to send the radiator back. There was a problem with the radiator cap, but I didn't really worry about that. I mean, I just went to another store and bought another radiator cap from another source. In that video that I made about the Lincoln, when I got that car and the guy told me that the water pump was bad, I got that water pump from Cardone, and that water pump was leaking as soon as I put it in. antifreeze coming right out of the shaft. So I had to get a water a water pump from another source. Now it's a Ford 302. It's not that hard to make a high quality water pump, and they're not hard to find. So far, the second or third. The car's in 1985. It's probably been through 5 water pumps already. But the third one that I put in hasn't leaked so far. But then again, I didn't show you. If I would open the trunk, I would have showed you the master cylinder. I replaced the master cylinder on that thing because, like I said, on that car, I had done I do the whole brake job. I did new brake lines. I got new rotors in the not new rotors. Those are still the same rotors, but I do have new calipers in the front. I got new shoes in the back. I didn't replace the drums in the back. Those are the same drums in the back, but those are new shoes. On the Lincoln, I did do the calipers in the front, new pads, and new brake lines, the steel lines, and the rubber lines. So it comes up to the master cylinder. If you watch that video, I did it's all new steel lines from the combination valve to all 4 corners. Those 2 lines that go from the master cylinder to the combination valve, those are original. But I did have to replace that master cylinder twice. The one I got, it started leaking as soon as you got it. The bore, the central bore where it mounts to the power brake booster, it started leaking fluid when I was bleeding the brakes. And that's another way you can tell that your master cylinder is bad. If you had a good one and you go check out your car and you see the paint peeling off the brake booster, that means that master cylinder is leaking internally. But my point is, this was a brand new thing right out the box. I hadn't even driven the car 1 mile. It's still sitting in the parking lot while I'm trying to bleed the brakes. So I had to get another brake booster. No, not brake booster. I had to get another master cylinder for that one. On the Suburban, if you watch that video, it's the same thing. I had to replace that master cylinder twice also. Same thing. I did the master cylinder when I did the brakes when I got the car. I had got that Suburban in 2010. So I did the brakes right after, because I told you when I had it, that thing had no rear brakes. So I put the master cylinder on in 2010. I had to do it again in 2012 because that's when that started to leak. Now, I suppose 2 years out of it, you would say that's not really as crucial as what Tony's trying to say. But the fact of the matter is, in the past, you put a master cylinder on the car and you can get 10 years out of it. Matter of fact, that's what the lifetime warranty was at Pep Boys and the AutoZone. It was a limited lifetime warranty as long as you owned the car. And if you did the job once, most likely 10 years later, you still wouldn't own the car. But now we're getting to the point where things are failing as soon as you install them. You saw the crosshatch marks on that rotor in that video from Tony. That means that this car really didn't even have 3,000 miles on it since those rotors were installed, right? And I'm telling you, this thing right here, it only lasted 4 minutes. And the old one, when I put the old one back in, I got another 6 years out of it. So, can it get worse? Oh yeah, it's definitely going to get worse. I'm sitting right here on this Oldsmobile, and I like to show you these wiper blades, and the wiper blades just fall apart after 90 days. I'm not going to do it right now, but you can take my word for it that, the wiper blades fall apart. I can show you these, Matter of fact, can I turn this camera around? No, I'll have to do it again. I'm coming up on 10 minutes, so I'm going to make this short, but I'll show you that even these fog lamps that I put on this thing. I put fog lamps on this truck, and I swear, man, this is what happens when you move your whole industrial manufacturing base to China. This is what happens. There's no quality control. You get stuff, you hope it works, and if it doesn't work, the company actually expects you to buy it again and to spend your whole time installing, reinstalling, installing, and reinstalling. Is it going to get worse? Sure. Definitely. Absolutely.